Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people at home and abroad, and thank you for tuning in to SFBN's live stream coverage of the ACHA. We have a good one in store as it's going to be the Rowan University Profs taking on the University of Pennsylvania Quakers. Hi again, everybody. Trey Matthews, your play-by-play announcer. We're in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here inside class of 1923 Arena on the historic campus of UPenn, one of the many Ivy Leagues out in the East. Both these teams a little short-handed. The Profs only have one eligible goalie. If you're wondering who their backup is going to be, it's going to be Gianna DeCoro. And then for the Quakers, their bench is going to be a little short, so all hands are needed in order for them to come away with the upset victory. 20 minutes on the board. Teams going over their final strategy as the referees are calling everybody to center ice to get this show on the road. Right now, the Liberty University of Flames currently sit atop of the DVC-HC division with an overall record of 7-1. They're currently on a 7-game winning streak. Both these teams below them and looking to get back into the win column to rack up some more victories. Starting goalies, it's going to be Megan Malarkey for the Profs, and then for the Quakers, it is Sejal Patel. Patel will be in the south part of the rink. Malarkey will be in the north. I talked to the coaching staff for UPenn, and I asked them, will they have enough girls in order to field a team for this matchup? And he told me, look, we've played with 6 players one time. We will be fine, and we're going to do whatever it takes to try to get this game going and try to get ourselves the victory. So the coaching staff, while shorthanded, having one of the smaller benches in all of the ACHA, they're confident in their group of girls in order to muster up the victory. Final chance, everybody about to take their positions, and we're going to get ready for the opening faceoff here on SFBN. It'll be Cantino and Hyder doing the opening faceoff at center. Puck is dropped, and we are underway here inside of class of 1923 Arena. Far side, stretching up ahead, is Fleeg. Goes toward the right of Patel. Popped free momentarily by Power. Right side half wall. Fiddling her way inside. Koserkova finds its way below the goal line. Koserkova looking for someone. Flings it back into neutral ice into the stick possession of Bowman. Stretches it up ahead. Gruby couldn't get full grasp of the puck. Ringing it around. Goes over to Thrasher. Whacked at nothing but air. Swiped away by Durso. Trying to look for an opening below the goal line. Patel getting ready. Over to the near side corner. Pass intended for Naval, but it goes a little too far of her stick to do anything with it. Naval has control of it again in the trapezoid. Power whacking at it. Hits the end wall. Over to Steek. Saucers the puck. Clears it, but not out. Still remains in the defensive end for the girls in white. Naval. Probing, looking for an opening. Durso there to help her out. Pass intended for Durso into the high slot. Knifing at the puck is Steek. Can't get full grasp of it. Kyle in the high slot once again. That came off the stick of Durso, finds its way below the goal line. Durso has control of it once again, being pestered and hounded by Power. Kyle right there. They're on the rebound, and they score. Naval cleaning up the mess out front, and the Profs go up 1-0 against the Quakers here inside class of 1923 Arena. Looking at the replay, you see Naval trying to get full grasp of the puck. Kyle is right there. and finds the back of the twine. So 1-0 in favor of the girls in brown. Power has control of it. Tries to pitchfork it up ahead to Gallagher. Couldn't find her stick. Weller taking into the attacking end for UPenn, looking for their first shot on Malarkey. Below the goal line, centering feed to Gallagher, and unfortunately she put a little too much muster on her twig. Scooting up ahead, here's Probst. Popped on free momentarily by Power. Probst regains control of the puck. Still remains below the goal line. Demanding for it up top is Stone. She'll get it. Whacks at it. Goes flying into the high slot. Cleared away into the possession of Gallagher. Takes it over to the far side boards. And popped by Joel Radburn. Probst. Skitters the puck back into neutral ice. Chopping at it. Hyder looking for control. Can't get it. There to help her out is Steek. Circles it back into her defensive end in front of her netminder of Patel. Steek sends it below the goal line. Hustling for it is Stone. Circling it around into the high slot. Possession for Steek. Bounces it back to Hyder. Hyder needs some help. Joel Radburn is there to pop the puck on free. There's Steek. Tries to kick it free. There on the forecheck is Hyder. And unfortunately, she got a little too handsy, a little too physical, even for the sport of hockey. So Hyder will be heading to the sin bin, and she'll be out of commission for the next 2 minutes. Roughing is the assessment. So the roster shrinks by 1 for UPenn. Just got to shake it off if you're the Quakers and try to get the successful PK. Hyder led the team in goals and points last season. She had 13 goals and 18 points. Obviously a big vocal point for this UPenn team. Scooped up by Patel, makes the save. I'll stop action momentarily with 16:21 remaining in the first period. Shots on goal differential 4-0 in favor of the Profs. Hodges got tied up. Madura swings it back up top for Bowman. Bowman will probe. Scoots the puck over to the right side half wall. Trying to chip it on loose. Madura goes on the short side, bangs it on the end wall. Steiger conveys the puck over to the near side corner. Madura circling it around. UPenn has not sent the puck down to the other side of the rink to kill some time. Far circle, goes back to the Quakers. Bowman. Steek looking for an opening. Back over to Bowman. Steiger is there. Circling the puck around. Skitters off the twig of Steek. Battling for it. Goes back to Hodges. Sent around. Up top for Bowman. Flings it below the goal line. 40 seconds remaining in Hyder's penalty for roughing. Madura. And it squeaks back into neutral ice, leaks back into the defensive end for the Profs. That will kill some significant time for the Quakers. Less than 30 seconds remaining in Hyder's penalty. Koserkova took it up to the red line, but no further. Stopping her will be a point of emphasis for the Quakers. She originally hails from the Czech Republic and is the best player on the Profs team. At least that's what her teammates informed me before the game. But the numbers certainly back it up. Into neutral ice. Gruby knifes her way inside, looking for an opening. Hyder checks back into the game, so we are back to 5-on-5 hockey here inside class of 1923 arena. Shot goes off the chest protector of Patel. Hyder turns the puck over. Cantino, shot, point blank, right in front of Patel. She makes the save, gobbles it up. That will halt action with 14:02 remaining in period one. Looking for a sliver of daylight, and Patel said no. Chopping at the puck, up top for Caruso. Fires it in, and it goes out of the reach of Patel. DeRusso chipping at it. Up the gut, Hyder lost control of it at center. There to help her out is Power. On the near side, battle of the 16s between Caruso and also Power. Kyle hustling for it. Collects the puck on the end wall, takes it over to the far circle. Goes below the goal line. Playing a game of catch. Naval has control of it. Up top for Caruso, lets a shot rip, goes a little too far wide of the cage. Hyder has control of the puck. Sends it back into neutral ice, into the stick possession of Caruso. Caruso lost control of it momentarily, regains it. There to help her out is Naval. Below the goal line, Power trying to poke the puck on free. Up top for Fling. Finds its way into the high slot. UPenn has control of it. Still, they still do not have a shot on Malarkey. Hyder took it up to the red line, but no further. Dumped it on in. Peels off for a change. Naval sends it deep into the defensive end for UPenn. Flung around for Weller. Now into neutral ice for Gallagher. Penetrates. And offsides is the assessment. So we will reset in neutral ice with a face-off. Unfortunately, Gallagher and a teammate got a little too antsy. So we will reset 13-14 remaining in period one. Near circle in the defensive end for the Profs. Fleeg has control of it. DeToya trying to kick it on free. Stopping her in her tracks was Weller. Searching for it was Hiller. Now DeToya. At the right point, shot attempt, held on to by Patel. Covered it up. That will halt action. So far, 7 shots on Patel. She has made 6 saves. At neutral ice, far boards. Steek at center, stolen away by DeToya. Looking to reset, goes below the goal line. Circles it around. Power has control of it on the near wall. Popped on free, sends it below the goal line, and icing is the assessment. So UPenn is going to have to stay put for the time being, and we will reset with a face-off. Hyder was trying to come out, but the referee said, nope, you are going to stay out for the time being. Only a handful of icing calls in the average hockey game originated in the 1930s when the Boston Bruins and the New York Americans would just repeatedly blast the puck down the rink just to irritate one another. League officials had to create the rule saying, hey, you guys, knock it off. That's not how we play the sport of hockey. You can thank the Boston Bruins. They're certainly around. The New York Americans, no longer an NHL team. Bangs it on the end wall. Into the possession of Power. Looking for an open lane. Stopped in her tracks. Lost control of the puck. Hyder is there. Scoots it over to Power. Goes off the pillows of Malarkey. Goes below the goal line. Stone. Now over to Steek. Looking for some help. Toward her right is Weller. Alexa pass it over to the near side. Hits it off the end wall for Cantino. Over to Madura. Chipped on free. Weller. Couple bodies hit the floor. Goes below the goal line once again. Stone has control of it. Slowing it down. Coming in on the forecheck is Weller. Spun around, still in the attacking end for UPenn. Shot, and it reached Malarkey, but she turns it aside. Madura. Red line. Goes for a change. Icing is the assessment. The Profs were trying to go for a change, and the referee said, no, you don't. Everyone has to come back out, and they're going to do a face-off in their defensive end. While we have a moment, let's look at the stats between both these goalies. Malarkey originally hails from Wilmington, Delaware. She has appeared in 6 games. She has a win-loss record of 4-1-1, a goals against average of 1.82, a save percentage of .892, and she has pitched 2 shutouts so far. For Patel, she has appeared in 2 games, has a win-loss record of 0-2, a goals against average of 6.86, and a .619 save percentage. Looking for some redemption as the season progresses. Up top for Power. Near wall. Hiller swings it on back. Looking for a shot. Can't unwind for one as it's mustered back into neutral ice. Lasers it over to Patel. She lands onto it. That will stop action. Almost halfway done with the first period. The Profs are on top of the Quakers by a score of 1-0. Hyder and Cantino will do the face-off, left wing side. Gallagher on her horse. Looking for some help. Popped on free momentarily. Squeaks back into neutral ice. Everybody from UPenn has to come back and reset. Playing a game of hot potato, goes back to the Profs. Gruby. Knifing her way through traffic. On the left point. Hits it off the end wall. And Koserkova tried to crash and find the back of the twine. Unfortunately, she came up empty. Face-off coming on the left wing face-off circle. Cantina and Weller did the draw. Unloads for a shot, goes too far wide of the blocker for Patel to do anything with it. Far corner for Cantino. Slows it down momentarily, puts on the brakes, will probe, hits it off the end wall. Patel keeping her head on a swivel. Drops on back for Fleeg. Passing toward her right for Bowman. Shot off the stick of Koserkova, and Patel held on to it. As we all know, Koserkova, she is enchanted with so much talent, and she is definitely a force to be reckoned with on the Profs roster. She currently leads the team in goals, assists, and points. So if you're UPenn, you got to be careful. And it's batted on in. Patel stopped about 85% of the puck, but it found a sliver of daylight. The goal will go to Zoe Kyle, being relentless on the goalie crease. Passing it around. Went for a shot. Kyle, right place, right time. Once again, Patel initially stopped it, but it squeezed on out and gave Kyle enough time to control the loose puck and find the back of the net. The captain, Caruso, has control of it in the defensive end for the Profs. They're up 2-0. Kyle. Swung at nothing but air. There to help her out is Durso. Now over to Caruso. Penetrates into the high slot. Shot held onto by Patel. Kookiness on the crease as her netting came loose, but she made the save this time around. She has seen 12 shots and has made 10 saves in this game. You could just see Caruso just barreling her way through traffic, trying to will herself to score. Unfortunately, Patel was able to get full grasp of the puck, and she got a great look at it. Steek needs some help. Mien is there alongside DeToya. Kicked on free. Weller looking for some help. More than halfway done with the first period. And right now the Profs are on top by a score of 2-0. Hiller comes up the gut, passing over to Gallagher. Shot just grazes the paddle of Malarkey and sends it over to the right side half wall. Now the puck is conveyed over to the near side. Weller hits the wall. Joel Radburn. Steek hits it off the end wall. Now we're to the near side. Mien has control of it. Two people to beat. There, the helper out is Probst. Toward her right, drops on back, and it doesn't even reach Patel. Hiller has control of it. We'll try this attack again. Stretches it up ahead into the possession of Weller. Unfortunately, that puck was a little too hot to handle, and it's flung back into neutral ice. Skipped back into the position of Thrasher. Rings it around to Madura. Into neutral ice for Smalley. Dumps it on in. Stone needs some help. Great physicality by Hyder. She's got to be careful. Yep, she's going to get a penalty for that one. Hustling off the rink is Malarkey. Extra attacker out for the Profs. So as soon as UPenn touches up the puck, Hyder will be going back to the penalty box for the second time this evening. 6-on-5 temporarily. Delayed penalty to the Quakers. They touch it up, and cross-checking will be the assessment. So Hyder will head back to the sin bin and sit. Referee's telling her that she needs to calm down. So roster shrinks by one for the Quakers, as Hyder will be out of commission for the next 2 minutes. Shots on goal differential 12-2 in favor of the Profs, and they're on top of the Quakers by a score of 2-0. Up top, walking the line. Bowman swings it around. Shot goes off the leg pads of Patel as she pillows the puck away. Koserkova looking for an opening. Drops on back to Bowman. Shot. Once again, went off the leg pads of Patel. Quakers were able to get a stick on it, and they fling it down to the other side of the rink to kill some time. Bowman puts on the brakes below her netminder of Malarkey. Less than 90 seconds remaining in Hyder's penalty for cross-checking. Pinballs the puck off the end wall, finds Patel. She elects to land onto it to stop action. 1:18 remaining in Hyder's penalty. Caruso currently leads the team in power play goals for the Profs with 3. Koserkova wins the draw up top for Bowman. Over to Gruby. Near circle, shot, lasers it on in, and Patel makes another save. Patel is telling the profs, don't blame me, I'm that good. Face off on the right wing circle. Up top, Bowman. Far circle. Koserkova with the shot, and once again, Patel makes the save. Jonata Koserkova from the Czech Republic. Trying to leave her imprint on this game, and Patel continues to say no. Face off on the right wing side. Up top for Fleeg. Over to Caruso. Once again, Caruso currently leads the Profs in power play goals. Over to Meehan. Taking their time. 35 seconds remaining in the penalty for UPenn. There, crashing the rebound. Finds its way back over into the possession of Caruso. Nudges it back into neutral ice. Here comes Hiller. Looking for the shorty. Ran out of room. Profs were on her like bees on honey. And it's sent over to the far corner. Meehan can't send it out. But offsides is the assessment. Weller had control of it, but the referees are going to say she crossed the blue line and then had possession of the puck, not the other way around. Face-off coming in neutral ice. 14 seconds remaining in Hyder's penalty. Here comes Probst. Toward her right is Steek. Steek gets control of the biscuit momentarily. Back over to Probst. She'll take it upon herself. Out in front. 5-hole. They score! Great work by Probst right there to set up her teammate, and that's going to go to Naval. So Hyder will check back into the game, but it's at the expense of surrendering a power play goal, and the lead has ballooned to 3. Probst, she fooled Patel right there. Series of excellent moves, and at the last possible second, dished it over to Naval, and that's Naval's second goal this game. .440 remaining in the first period. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Kyle. Her and Naval are the goal scorers in tonight's matchup so far. Wrestling for it. Goes back to UPenn. Skips it back into the defensive end. Icing negated by the linesman. Joel Radburn swings it around. Chipping at it. Finds its way back into neutral ice for Kyle. Hustling forward is DeToya. Takes control of it. Needs some help. Kyle right behind her. Kyle there to help bail her out momentarily, but it goes back to the girls in white. Hyder looking to redeem herself. Already has 2 penalties in this game. Takes it past the red line, up to the blue line, but no further. Dumps it on in, rings it around. Joel Radburn back into neutral ice. Rabago has control of it. They're on the back skate. Dispossessed, Steiger. Trying to get control of the puck. And now here comes UPenn. Weller tried to scoot the puck up ahead. Goes back in the defensive end for the Quakers. Rabago circles it around. Hodges trying to get control of it. 3 minutes remaining in the first period. Time winding down. Steiger playing game of catch between her and Hodges. Steiger on the far circle. Looking for Hodges on the end wall. Goes over to Hodges momentarily, trying to stick it on in. And she got negated by Patel right there. Only 2 shots in this period for UPenn. They got to try to generate something on Malarkey. Bangs it off the end wall once again. Picked up by Power. Finds an open lane. Toward her right is Hiller. Over to Hiller. Back over to Weller. Unwinds for a shot. Out in front. Wrestling for it is Power, and unfortunately didn't have enough muscle to try to get full grasp of the puck and give UPenn their first goal of the game. Glides back into the possession of Steek. They'll try this again. Full steam ahead. Less than 2 minutes remaining, and she blows a tire. Hiller, near side. Shot once again. Gallagher there on the rebound. Closing up the 5-hole was Malarkey. Using her pillows to make sure that the puck did not go past her. Closed up the 5-hole. Landed onto it to stop action. $1:44 remaining in this period. Once again, Malarkey hails from Wilmington, Delaware. And we will get a penalty for the Profs, a late penalty. 1:44 remaining in period 1. Fresh 2 minutes on the board. Get the official assessment once I get a word up here in the broadcaster's booth. Power, near side, goes below the goal line. Steek, over to Power, popped on free, dispossessed, sent down to the other side of the rink to kill some time. Blowing a tire was Koserkova. Fell onto the end wall. Hopefully she's all right. A little slow to get back. Here's Gallagher. Near circle. First time this evening that we've seen UPenn on the man advantage. Koserkova sends it up ahead. Now here comes Cantino. Lost control of it. Koserkova looks a little slow right now. Once again, she fell down to the ground, and that might have affected her a little bit. Power, shot. And Malarkey will stop action. 46 4/10 of a second remain in the first period. In the sin bin is Michaela Harris. Face off on the stick side of Malarkey. Up top for Power. Squeaks back into neutral ice on the far boards. Hiller. Stretches up ahead to Sokol. Over to Weller. Shot out in front. And Sokol was in the right position on the goalie mouth. Unfortunately, she got negated. Once again, Malarkey standing tall in between the pipes. 22 8/10 of a second remain in the first period. Weller and Durso do the face-off. Finds its way over to Joel Radburn. Spins it around. Rabago. Far circle. Fiddling with it. Back into neutral ice. With speed, Durso all alone. She shoots and it goes far wide of the cage. $1 million move, only a 50-cent finish by Sarah Durso. That was incredible right there. Looking for the shorthanded goal. Unfortunately, nothing to show for it as triple zeros have hit the board, and that's how we end the first period. Shots on goal differential, a staggering 20-7 difference between the Quakers and the Profs. And right now, the players are gathering around, trying to catch their breaths as we're going to get ready for the second period. Don't go anywhere. I will step aside momentarily. Welcome back to SFBN. We're on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania inside of class of 1923 arena. It's the Profs and the Quakers. Right now, Rowan University on top by a score of 3-0. 16 seconds remaining in the power play for the Quakers. Let's see if they could try to crack the goose egg. Goes below the goal line, now in the defensive end for UPenn. Circling it around, goes back to Hiller. Stretches it up ahead. Went off the stick of Weller. Karsakova. Sends it around over to the near corner. Physicality between both these teams picking up. Patel using her stick to knock it away. Now we are back to 5-on-5 hockey. Unfortunately, UPenn goes 0 for 1 on the man advantage so far. Left side half wall. The captain, Caruso, puts a series of excellent moves on. Looking for an opening. Popped on free. Bounces on the glass. Caruso takes control of it once again. Cantino. Pass intended for Kosarkova. Down low for Steek. Kosarkova is there. Pinned her onto the boards. Kyle. Naval and Kyle are the goal scorers in tonight's matchup. Naval has 2 of the 3 goals. So she is on hat trick watch. Bounces on the end wall. Caruso puts the brakes on. Waits for everyone to get set. Harris. Spits it back into neutral ice. There's Hyder. So far, Pierce Hyder has racked up 2 penalties in this game, looking to redeem herself. She could do it right here. Hyder tries to unwind for a shot. Unfortunately, great stick work by Rowan University as Hyder got a shot off, and this time Malarkey is able to make the save. So far, Malarkey has seen 8 shots, and she has stopped all 8 of them. Faceoff coming on the right wing side. Hyder and Durso do the draw. Circles it around. Joel Radburn has control of it. Over to Kyle. Back into neutral ice. Glides back into the defensive end for UPenn. Looking for the icing, and it's waved off. Great hustle right there by Naval. Patel was warning her team of the icing, had her hand up in the air, but Naval won the foot race to the hash marks. Naval pitchforks the puck below the goal line over to Kyle. Joel Radburn keeps the offensive attack alive. Bounces on the far wall. Kyle sends it below the goal line for Naval. Shot, centering feed to Kyle, and held on to by Patel. Patel has seen 21 shots, and she has stopped 18 of them. Faceoff coming on the right wing side. On the glove side of Patel. Goes up top for Fling. Plays a game of hot potato, goes back into possession of Weller. Passing over to Gallagher. Trying to find someone in the slot. Nobody was home in white. Here's Fleeg. Banks it on the near wall. Over to Steek. Lost control of it momentarily. Pinning her into the boards is Meehan. Spits it over to the near corner. That's Hiller. Chipping at it. Meehan there once again. Up top, left point for Fling. Shot, waffle boarded away by Patel. Meehan keeps the offensive attack alive. DeToya will probe. Gallagher pops the puck on free. And DeToya is dispossessed. Finds his way into neutral ice. Weller trying to go off and running. Gallagher on the near circle. Back over to Weller. Doesn't even reach Malarkey. Puck was stagnant in the low slot momentarily, but unfortunately UPenn couldn't pounce. Squirts back into neutral ice in front of the bench for Rowan University. Gallagher banks it in front of Rowan University's bench. DeToya dumps it on in. She peels off for a change. New bodies out there with the exception of Meehan. Icing negated by the linesman. Caruso circling it around. Dropped it on back to Harris. Stretched up ahead to Steiger. Bounces it back to center. Steek sends it below the goal line. Kicking it around was Harris. Now 3-on-1 breaking out. This could be trouble. Caruso up the gut. She'll take it upon herself. Goes too far wide of the cage. There on the rebound is Steiger to keep the offensive attack alive. Up top for Harris. Near corner. Thrasher took it up to the blue line, but no further. Finds its way back into the possession of Power. Trying to knife her way inside. Hits it weakly. Goes off the paddle of Malarkey. Spins it around. Shots on goal differential 22-9 in favor of the Profs, and they're on top 3-0. Near wall. Knocked on free. Caruso. Numbers if they hurry. Here's the Profs. Shot. Once again, Caruso found an open lane, took it upon herself to shoot it. This time it went too high of the crossbar. First attempt went too far wide. This time too high as she turned her hands. Here's Hiller. Stretched up ahead. Pass intended for Weller. Won't reach her. Koserkova stopped at the red line. Weller knocked it free momentarily. Now here's Hiller. Drops on back for Gallagher. Hits the end wall. Koserkova has control of it. Oh, nice move right there, but unfortunately she's going to be stopped as there were too many players in white jerseys for Koserkova to do anything with it. She's good. Unfortunately, 3-on-1. She wasn't going to win that battle. Joel Radburn sends it around. Now here's Hiller with the shot. Doesn't even reach Malarkey. Didn't need to do anything with it. Gruby, left side half wall. UPenn playing much better defense in this period. Almost halfway done with it. And so far, the Profs haven't generated nearly the same amount of shots as they did in the first period. Broadcaster's jinx might come back to bite me. Not this time. Cantino slides on back. Pass intended for Koserkova in the slot. Finds its way back in the defensive end for the Profs. Having control of it for the girls in brown was Joel Radburn. Sends it up ahead. Icing is the assessment, so we're going to head back in the defensive end for the Profs with a face-off. 12-23 remaining in period 2. Shots on goal differential 22-10 in favor of the Profs. The Profs finished 4th in the division last season with a record of 12-10-1. They're currently 4-1-1 this season. Face-off coming on the glove side of Malarkey. Goes below the goal line. Hustling for it is Smalley. Sends it around. Gruby. Kicks it on free. Off the end wall. Kamara couldn't do anything with it. Back into neutral ice. There on the back skate is Steek. Pass intended for Rabago. Koserkova. Sends it over to the far wall. In front of the Profs bench. Penetrating on in is Cantino. Below the goal line, searching for an open lane. Far circle, shot, and it hit a Quaker stick. as it hit the end wall right below the goal line of Patel. Shot once again, held onto by Patel. Gruby saw the opening. Unfortunately, Patel also saw it, and she snags it out of the air. Patel has seen 23 shots, and she has made 20 saves in this game. Faceoff coming on the right wing side. If you're UPenn, you got to use this period as a blank space. Don't focus on the score. Just try to focus other ways to claw back into the game. But each period, you just hit the reset button and do whatever it takes to try to get yourself back into the game. They've done that by limiting the shots from the Profs, and the Quakers have also generated some shots in this period themselves. They struggled with that in period one. Back into neutral ice on the far boards for Durso. At the red line. Circling it around is Bowman. Bounces off the end wall. Hiller. Looking to break on out. Here's Power up the gut. Needs some help. Drops on back for Gallagher. Gallagher tried to pass it on back to Power, but it's flung back into neutral ice. Kyle took it up to the blue line, but no further. Hyder is there. Looking for some help. Pass intended for Hiller. Remains in the attacking end for the girls in brown. Right side half wall. Over to Steek. Needs some help. Gallagher there to help her out. Hyder is also there. Gallagher rings it around. Halfway done with period two. We saw 3 goals by the Profs in period one. Nothing between both these teams in terms of the goal category in the middle period. Scores back into neutral ice, glides back in the defensive end for the Profs. And icing is the assessment. So the Quakers are going to have to stay put. You saw Hyder near the bench, a little frustrated, trying to get off after a lengthy shift, but she's going to have to stick it out for even longer as everybody from UPenn has to stay where they're at. 9:39 remaining in period two. Hyder and Meehan will do the draw. Coming on the glove side of Patel. Banks it on the right side half wall. Goes below the goal line. DeToya didn't see the puck. Steek got there first. DeToya tries to knock her off the puck. Successful doing so. UPenn can't get a full twig on it. Gallagher sends it up to the red line. Dispossessed by Smalley. Taking her time is Meehan. Takes it below the cage of her netminder of Malarkey. I won't say the word that everybody is searching for, but Malarkey has so far seen 10 shots, and she saved all 10 of them, and we're more than halfway done with the second period as Patel covers up the puck to stop action momentarily. The Profs were supposed to play against Lebanon Valley College last night at Hershey Park Arena. However, that game was unfortunately canceled. Hershey Park Arena is the former home of the Hershey Bears, who are currently the AHL affiliate of the Washington Capitals. Short side, DeToya. Probes, trying to set up one of her teammates. In the high slot, far circle, bounces off the equipment of Patel, goes below the goal line. Spun around over to the right side half wall. Sokol can't clear it. She gets control of the puck once again. Needs some help. Weller got a twig on it. Still remains in the attacking end. Joel Radburn able to prevent the puck from going off sides. This time it goes back in the defensive end for the girls in brown. Now here we go. Coming off the stick of Thrasher. Finds its way over to the near corner. Quakers looking to generate more high-danger chances. They've generated 10 shots on Malarkey, but none of them have been high-danger opportunities. as icing is the assessment, so we will head back into the defensive end for Rowan University with a face-off. I said it at the top of the broadcast, but the Quakers, they have a very short bench, which leads to extended ice time for their players, which can result in fatigue. But the coaching staff told me one time we had to play a game with only 6 players, so they will try to toughen it out and do whatever it takes to get the victory. I definitely respect UPenn and their tenacity. Right now, the referees are discussing something. Hyder said something, trying to get an explanation of some sorts. But we will remain as is. Hyder and Hodges will do the draw. I guess Hyder is looking for an explanation on that previous icing or something, but it benefits UPenn. Right now the Profs bench is growing a little restless. They're saying, let's go. Let's drop the puck and play. Hyder wins the draw. Pillowed away by Malarkey. That came off the stick of Steek. Into neutral ice. Steek corrals it. Sends it up ahead at the red line. Here's Hyder trying to put the moves on. And the puck is popped on free. Sent around over to the far wall. Left point. Hodges hustling for it. Gets control of it. Banks it on the near side. Steek lost control of it. Off and running. Here's Steiger. One person to beat. That's Patel. Shot. Closing up the 5-hole and making the save was Patel. Another shot, this time coming off the stick of Harris. And Patel lost her bearings a little bit, but she was able to keep the puck out. Into neutral ice. At the red line. Goes below the goal line in the defensive end for Rowan University. Harris. Here's the captain, Caruso. Far circle. And using her paddle to knock it away was Patel. Patel has been keeping Caruso out for the most part in this game. And Patel makes another save. As you saw Cantino right there hang around on the weak side looking for the backdoor play. But Patel was able to locate the puck first. Well, stop action with 6:40 remaining in this period. Below the cage. Hiller needs some help. Power is there to help her out. Chipped on free. Swept up ahead. Nudges it into the possession of Gallagher. Far wall. There's Bowman. Here's Stone. Shot. Can't control it and get full grasp of it was Patel. Went in and out of her trapper. Still remains in the attacking end for Rowan University. Hopefully that does not come back to bite them. Cantino puts on the brakes. Up top for Fleeg. Shot. And it reaches the stick of Steek as she sends it back into neutral ice. Bounces into the possession of Bowman. Looking to go off and running. Banked it on the near wall. Sent around. Power into neutral ice. Hustling for it is Fleeg. Gets control of it. Icing negated by the linesman. Below the cage. Drops it on back for Caruso. Far wall. Gruby into neutral ice. Gruby once again looking for an opening. Pit-pocketed by Hiller. 5 minutes remaining in this period. Finds its way to the other sheet of ice on the other side of the rink. Saucers it back over to Kyle. In front of the benches. Kyle gets control of it once again. Knocked off the puck, poked on free. Hiller has control of it. She takes it in front of her netminder of Patel. Gallagher, too hot to handle at the red line. Bounces over to the near circle. Gallagher taking her time. Trying to knock it on loose. Durso. Unfortunately, she got a little too trigger happy with her stick. And I think she's going to have to pay the piper in this instance. I think she was a little frustrated with how UPenn was handling her. I believe that was Rabago who fell onto the ground. Referee's discussing. Yep, indeed, that is Rabago. Shaking her head a little bit in discomfort. Skating her way back to the bench. Looks like she's going to be all right. Probably seeing stars a little bit. I think the referees are trying to discuss the assessment. Yeah, they're looking for Durso. She's on the bench right now. We're going to say contact to the head. So she heads to the penalty box, and the Pross faithful that have made the trip to the city of brotherly love, they don't really appreciate that call. So it's going to be a 5-minute major for the Profs. And let me remind everyone, since this is a penalty major, the Profs have to serve the entirety of it. So even if the Quakers score, they will not regain Durso. So due to elbowing and contact to the head, Curso has to pay the piper. Or Durso, I beg your pardon. So extended power play time for UPenn. Top of the circle. Here comes Hiller. Centering feet out front. Swept away. Still remains in the attacking end for UPenn. Power. Extra pep in her step. Hyder with the shot. Finds its way into the slot. Onto the goalie crease. Bedlam on the blue paint. And unfortunately, Hiller couldn't knock it on in. So Hyder and Weller each had a power play goal last season. Former Quakers players Salsa Beal Hodge and Maya Lassiter also contributed with one last season. UPenn working on their man advantage a little bit, trying to get more contributions from people this season. And once again, here's a golden opportunity for them to crack the egg and get into the scoring column. Bowman. Drops on back. Here's Weller. Playing a game of catch between her and Hiller. There's 3:10 remaining in this period. There's 4 minutes remaining in Durso's penalty. Shot goes off the leg pads of Malarkey. Once again, if you're just tuning in, the reason why Durso is serving that penalty major is due to her elbowing Rabago and contact to the head. So she has to sit for an extended period of time. Near wall. Into the defensive end for Power. Here's Hyder. Took it up to the red line, but no further. Weller trying to regain control of the biscuit, able to do so. Here's Hyder. Penetrates on in. Toward her left is Hiller. Hiller wrestling alongside Fleeg. Sent around. Up top for power, a couple steps in. Top of the left circle, shot once again. And that goes a little too far wide. Still remains in the attacking end for Steek. Hyder putting all of her muscle into that previous shot attempt. Speaking of which, Hyder has control of it. Tries to rifle it on in. Shot! And UPenn is unable to get full grasp of the puck. Beautiful play drawn up. Unfortunately, not well enough executed. Hyder has control of it now. This is a great PK for Rowan University. UPenn has had some looks. Unfortunately, no high danger chances in this particular power play, and Malarkey hasn't had to make that many stoppages. Near corner. Finds his way over to Weller. Goes below the goal line. Hyder. Weller. Right circle. Hyder. 2 minutes remaining in the power play. Down onto the ground goes Weller. She lost control of it. And Weller down onto the ground now on that previous play. Getting up on her own willpower. Training staff is creeping on out. Right now she's hunched over. She's able to walk away, so that's always a good sign. We'll see if she goes down the tunnel. Looks like she heads back to the bench. She's going to sit. Great sportsmanship from the profs as they kneel, just to make sure that she's all right. And looks like UPenn will take a timeout. And while they discuss everything, I will step aside here on SFBN. I'll be back in about a minute. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to SFBN for this live stream coverage of the ACHA between the Rowan University Profs and the University of Pennsylvania Quakers. We have a $1:02 remaining in the middle period. So far, Profs are on top of the Quakers by a score of 3-0. If you're just tuning in, Durso had a penalty major assessed to her for elbowing, contact to the head on Rabago, so she got a 5-minute major. And UPenn has had some extended power play time. Unfortunately, they can't generate anything on Malarkey. Less than a minute remaining in this period. Shot. Goes off the leg pads of Malarkey. Decent look by UPenn. Steek. Now over to Kyle. Hyder has control of it. Takes it over to the far boards. Kyle was pestering and hounding her. Goes off at the leg of Hiller. That puck went flying into the stands, so I'm sure that's going to be a little bit of a stinger for Hiller. 19 and 8/10 of a second remain. A minute 09 remaining in Durso's penalty. Hypothetically, if UPenn is unable to score within these next few seconds, then they will begin the third period of regulation on the man advantage, albeit a shortened power play. Goes below the goal line. Less than 5 seconds remain. UPenn has control of it in their defensive end. Skating around with Steek. And that's how the period will end. No goals in this period between the Profs and the Quakers, but the Profs still remain on top by a score of 3-0. I won't say the S word, but Malarkey has seen 15 shots, and she has made 15 saves. So for any of you hockey fans who are listening, you can't say that I jinxed her. That's what's to look forward to in the third period as the players head to the locker room to get replenished, refueled, and rehydrated. I will step aside here on the SFBN. Welcome back to SFBN. We're about to begin the third period, but before we do, let's play some highlights. How did we get to this point? Well, it's been a scoring clinic for Naval as she has 2 of the 3 goals for Rowan University. You see the first one right there, and then Kyle also got into the mix as well, being a pest out in front and was able to squeak it past Patel, despite Patel stopping 85% of that puck. And now here's the latest goal in the first period. Once again, Naval, right place, right time, centering feed from Durso. And Naval is on hat trick watch as we're about to begin the third period. And this is UPenn's last chance to try to generate something on Malarkey. She has seen 15 shots, and she has stopped all 15 of them. So right now, the Profs exiting their bench. Everyone's about to get ready for the start of the third period. Durso still has 49 seconds remaining in her penalty that now leaks over into the third period. Remember, she was given a penalty major for contact to the head by elbowing, so she had to sit for an extended period of time. And unfortunately, the Quakers haven't been able to generate anything on the man advantage. It's been a great PK for Rowan University, and they have definitely played really well in front of their netminder of Malarkey. So the puck is dropped. Last chance for UPenn. We're underway to begin the final period of regulation. Here's Hyder. Sends it below the goal line. Hiller backhands it back toward her. Up top. Power. Whiffs it over to Hyder. Up top for Power. Couple steps in. Over to Steek, trying to take their time. Steek. Shot goes too far wide. Hyder is there. 10 seconds remaining in Durso's penalty. Time for one final shot. 5 seconds remain. There's Weller. Up top onto the right point for Steek. And Durso checks back into the game, so we are back to 5-on-5 hockey here inside class of 1923 arena as the shot goes a little too far wide. Despite being on the extended power play, UPenn was unable to generate much on Malarkey. Shot bounces over to the right side half wall. Picked up by Hiller. Out in front and just hanging on the goalie mat right there was Hyder. Unfortunately, she couldn't do anything with it. Hyder is a dangerous scorer for the Quakers. Trying to pickpocket Caruso, unable to do so. Couple bodies hit the floor. Here comes Caruso. Steek is there, takes control of the puck, rims it around. Koserkova, she has control of it, dispossessed by Hyder momentarily. Hyder looks to go off and running, and she's squeezed free from the puck as it's flipped around, now into the possession of Fleeg. Power, trying to pop it on free. Meehan is there to help her out. Here's Hyder, looking to set up shop. Takes it over to the near circle, below the goal line. Popped free by Meehan. Meehan takes it over to the far boards. 3-on-2 breaking out for the girls in brown. The Profs take it below the goal line. Meehan going to try this again. Circles it around. Up top for Stone. Shot in the high slot. Bounces its way free. Koserkova is there. Spins it around into the possession of Fleeg. Pitchforks the puck below the goal line. Power, left side half wall, chipping at it. UPenn trying to break on out. Hiller into neutral ice. Stone is there, stretches it up ahead. Koserkova at the blue line, just dumps it, comes off. Gruby looking for an opening in the high slot, trying to knife her way through traffic. Unfortunately, couldn't find an opening, but she regains control of the puck. Below the goal line, into the trapezoid, onto her forehand. On the near wing, spinning it around was Cantino. Right side half wall, squirts back into neutral ice. Far boards in front of the Profs bench. For anyone who's unfamiliar with Roman University, their nickname, the Profs, is short for professors. So technically, if we're going to call them by their full government name, if you would, the Rowan University Professors, with an owl being a representation of it. Initially, I thought they were the Rowan University Owls when I first moved to Philadelphia years back, but then I realized, oh no, they're the Rowan University Profs, not the Owls. Near circle, Cantino spins it around. Harris. DeToya taking her time, creeping on in as Weller. Shots on goal differential 30-16 in favor of the Profs. Rabago tiptoes her way to the puck. Banks it on the far wall, back into neutral ice. Caruso bounces on the near wall in front of the Quakers bench. Shift on free. Here's Caruso. Gets her way free. Goes below the goal line. Caruso once again. Pitchforks the puck down low. Centering feed. Goes back up top for Probst. Keeps it on sides. Passing toward her left for Caruso. Probst once again. Shot goes too far wide for Patel to do anything with it. Fished out by Weller. Caruso. Goes below the goal line, over to the left side half wall. Sokol dives onto the ground, goes back to Harris. Full pressure right now by the Profs. Now it goes back into neutral ice. Kyle, one of the couple goal scorers in this game. She has a goal, and Naval has the other two. Far wall. Kyle has control of it. Takes it in between the circles. Over to the right wing side. Back into neutral ice. Everybody from the Profs has to come back and reset at center. Goes below the goal line. Swung around over to the left corner. Kyle using her muscle to get control of the puck momentarily, but it finds its way back into the stick possession of Hyder. Tries to dish it up ahead. Hyder has control of it once more. Caruso. Shot up top. Goes off the leg pads of Patel. See Fleeg up there trying to do whatever it took to keep the offensive attack alive. Durso. Hyder. Looks for some help. Whiffs at nothing but air. Durso there on the forecheck. Into the high slot. Back up top for Fleeg. Sends it below the goal line. Caruso has control of it. Looking for the shot. Making the save is Patel. Caruso kept at it, but Patel was able to stop her in her tracks. Talked about how the Profs were supposed to play against Lebanon Valley College last night. Unfortunately, that game was canceled. Their latest victory was a 5-0 shutout against the Adrian College Bulldogs. Being an Adrian College alum myself, I know that Adrian College is notoriously known for their hockey teams. It's not just a one program type of organization. They got 7 hockey teams playing at Arrington Ice Arena, not to mention a figure skating team, a synchronized skating team. It's a revolving door. And like I said, they're known for their hockey. Their women's D2 team, it has some work to do, but it's nice to see that the Profs were able to get the victory over the Bulldogs. Talked to them before the game about it. Off and running. Here's Hiller. Finds an opening. Shot. And that was probably one of the best attempts all game long, but Malarkey was able to make the save. See, Hiller puts the moves on, frees herself from Durso. Shot. Good look. Unfortunately, Malarkey had plenty of time to gauge the puck and make the save. 12:20 remaining in the final period of regulation. Hiller with the shot once again, went off the equipment of Malarkey. Finds his way over to the near side. Here's Gooby. Goes below the goal line. Steiger needs some help. Steiger looking for a shot, short side. Finds his way back up top. Flings it below the goal line. Keeping at it right now is Steiger. Sent over to the left side half wall. UPenn trying to clear the puck, able to do so. Dribbles it back to neutral ice. Everybody in brown has to come back and reset. Picking up the puck is Joel Radburn. Near side. Joel Radburn hustling for it again. This time it's iced by the Quakers, so everybody's going to have to stay put in white, and we're going to get a face-off in their defensive end. Dominique Joel Radburn able to get to the puck in plenty of time for the icing. Talked about Pierce Hyder earlier in the game, saying that she led the team in goals and points last season. She is the president of the Women's Hockey Club here at UPenn. She is also a chemical and biomolecular engineer major, and she's set to graduate in 2027. Their backdoor, they score! Open lane for the Profs, and the lead goes up to 4. Koserkova, I said in the first period you had to be careful because she might be lurking at any given moment. Just lost sight of her, and she went backdoor. Koserkova currently leads the team in goals. Coming into this game, she had 6. Now she has lucky number 7, bumping her total up to 12 points, which also leads the team. She's averaging a point per game so far this season. Near corner. Shots on goal differential 36-18 in favor of the Profs. The Quakers trying to do whatever it takes to not get shut out. Gruby finds her way in. Koserkova chopped on free. Quakers looking for control of the puck. Back into neutral ice. Everybody in brown comes back and resets. Dumping it on in was Joel Radburn. Goes below the goal line. Over to Gruby. Bounces her way free. We're almost done with the final period of regulation. We've hit the halfway mark in period 3. 10 minutes remain. Profs looking to get their second straight win. It's been a while since they've played. Far boards. Koserkova lost control of it. Squirts back into neutral ice. Leaks back into the defensive end for the ladies in brown. Joel Radburn sends it up ahead. Over to the far bench. There's Power. Banks it on the near wall. Naval is on hat trick watch. Still plenty of time in the third period to try to get that third, and oh so close. Stone knifes her way inside. Shot held onto by Patel. 9:04 remaining in period 3. Face off on the left wing side. Finds its way back into neutral ice. Glides back in the defensive end for the Profs. Near side for Caruso. Over to Kyle. Naval. Reaching the puck first was Meehan. She's probably going to try to set Naval up to get that hat trick goal. Caruso, the captain. Back over to Penn. There's Harris. Dances her way free. Harris on the near wall. Lets a shot rip. Keeps at it. Kyle with the shot once again. And Patel is able to keep the Profs out. Goes below the goal line. Kyle looking for her second goal of the game. Using her physical play to get control of the puck. Naval wrestling for it. Her and Weller fall into the ground momentarily. Over to the near corner. Kyle trying to get possession of it. Referee's hand goes up into the air. We'll see another player head to the penalty box as cross-checking is the assessment. We'll see who it goes on. Might go on Penn in this case. Nope. It's going to go on Zoe Kyle. Rocking some bright pink hair. She will sit for the next 2 minutes, once again for cross-checking. So she'll be out of commission temporarily. And the Quakers, with 7:49 remaining in the third period, they're looking for their first goal to try to prevent a shutout from Malarkey. Prof send it down to the other side of the rink. That will kill some time. Naval has control of it. Now back into neutral ice. Hyder. Over to the near side. Back over to Hyder. Trying to go back door alongside Hiller. Finds his way over to the right point. Couple steps in for Steek. Below the goal line. Taking their time. Steek has control of it. Over to Hiller. Power. Shot. Ricochets, but it stays in the attacking end for Penn. 1:10 remaining in Kyle's penalty for cross-checking. Trying to give a center feed to Hiller. Not much room to operate. Bowman winds up and sends it down to the other side of the rink. That will kill some time. Steek puts on the brakes momentarily. Power barreling her way through traffic on the near circle. Drops on back for Hyder, one of the alternate captains for the Quakers. Over to Steek, near circle. Shot doesn't even reach Malarkey. Bounces down to the other side of the rink. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the man advantage for the Quakers. They have time for one final rush here on the power play. Once again, they had an extended power play thanks to Durso getting a 5-minute major. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize on it. Joel Radburn. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and Kyle checks back into the game. So Penn unable to capitalize on that power play opportunity. Definitely a gut punch right now, but they're still working to try to get their first goal. Harris peels back in the defensive end for the Profs. Now into neutral ice on the near wall. Squeezes it free. Power. Nudges it up ahead. Goes below the goal line. Smalley into the trapezoid. DeToya there to help her out. Centering feed out front. Durso. Now into neutral ice. Grazed off the twig of Naval. Near wall for Steek. Goes below the goal line. Gallagher. Centering feed to Sokol, and it's skittered off her body. Now back into neutral ice. Dumping on in is Naval. Hits the end wall. Weller hustling for it. Sends it around. Up top for Bowman. DeToya with the shot short side. Went in and out of the trapper of Patel. Now into neutral ice. Up the gut. Here's Power. Popped on free. Chopping at the puck. There's Bowman. Maneuvers it back to Harris. DeToya. Stopped in her tracks. Rabago. Grabbing her face mask saying like, hey, she hit me in the face, but the referees are going to let the players play. Naval in search for the hat trick. Trying to center it off alongside DeToya. Unfortunately, didn't reach her stick. Puck had a little too much juice on it. Nudged back into neutral ice. Overplays the puck, goes back in the defensive end for UPenn. Weller. Sokol. Up top. Hits the end wall once more. Here's Power. Less than 5 minutes remaining in the game. Takes it up to the blue line, dumps it on in. Goes back to Stone. Rings it around. Kamara. Dropping on back to Hyder. Kicking at it. Power is there. Kamara hanging out in the slot. Looking for a centering feed. Won't get it. Kamara wrestling alongside Smalley. Hyder below the goal line. Circling it around. Looks for an open lane in the high slot. Now over to the far circle. Shoots, and it dribbles over to the left side half wall. Didn't even reach Malarkey. Near corner. Back into neutral ice. Steek has control of it. Turns it back over. Near wall. Hodges took it up to the blue line, but no further. Finds its way into the possession of Steek. Into neutral ice. At the red line for Harris. There's Madura. Taking it alongside Steiger. Goes below the goal line. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the final period of regulation. Steiger at the red line. Power couldn't do anything with it. Kamara taking her sweet time with it. Durso prances her way free. Near circle. Excellent defense right there by Thrasher. 90 seconds remain in the game. Kyle with the shot. Backhander attempt. Swept away by UPenn. Job's not finished. Still in the attack again for the girls in brown. Below the goal line for Madura. Shot. Fired over to the near corner. Harris had all the momentum on it. In fact, she got control of it and neutralized once again, but this time Power picks it up. Back over to Harris. Able to maneuver it up ahead weakly. Less than a minute remaining in the game. Turned back over. Harris. Kyle racing for it. Now back into neutral ice. This one all but over already. Goes below the goal line. Team still being physical. And you can see Kyle barking at the referee saying, hey, why aren't you blowing your whistle? Well, game is essentially over anyway, with all due respect, so the referees are just going to let it play out. Kyle. She going to look for one final shot. Goes over to the near corner. Slowing her down was Weller. Excellent stick usage. Back into neutral ice. Harris stretches up ahead. Finds the trapper of Patel. She elects to just let it play out. 5 seconds remaining. Kyle still being very physical. Rims it around for Weller. And that'll just about do it. One final shot by Joel Radburn, but it did not even reach Patel. So the Quakers dropped this game by a score of 4-0 to Rowan University. Profs extend their winning streak to 2. And they improve their overall record to 5-1-1. And to add on to that, Malarkey pitched a shutout, her third shutout this season. So all seriousness, no Malarkey from Megan Malarkey. See what I did there? Anyway, players come to center ice to shake hands as a sign of good sportsmanship. And that is my sign to step away here on SFBN. So thanks for tuning in for some ACHA hockey to close out your Sunday night. Trey Matthews, your play-by-play announcer. Thank you for the entire cast and crew on board. Once again, Profs victorious over the Quakers by a score of 4-0. Good night, everybody.